Hello, I'm Paul.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben for you. Ben for you. Start that again. I hated that. Do that again. I don't even know what that's meant to mean. Start again.
No,
that's it.
No,
that was horrible. Start again.
We can't start again. We lose the magic.
It wasn't even funny. It didn't even make any sense. Please start
mate.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. You talk a lot of shit. You have to deal with it. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't.
All
This
right.
is like theatre. This isn't a film. There's no second take. This is theatre. You die on the stage with the words you just said.
All right.
And do you know what?
You've been very harsh.
This is Filmbusters.
So, ladies and gentlemen, how are you? I've got lots of things to tell you about today. First of all, let's share one nice thing with each other that we've been doing this past week. Adam, you ready for this nice thing that I've been doing this past week?
Go for it.
I ordered 100 origami papers and I've been making origami animals.
Oh, what ones have you made?
Not very good ones. I tried an owl, too complicated, so I threw it away.
Ooh.
And then I did one heart and one butterfly.
The heart's a good one, isn't it?
Heart's a very good one. I quite like it, how it looks, yeah.
Tell you my favourite one is the elephant.
Send me the video how it's done.
A crane is a very easy one to do, and it's a great one to do to learn all the basics of how to do it all.
I'm not doing a crane.
No, trust me, just do a crane. It will teach you how to do everything. Like,
Alright.
if you can master a crane, you can master all the different types of folds you kind of need to make all the other origami.
Alright, so.
Also, I made an X-Fighter, which is pretty cool.
Yes.
Have I sent you the pictures of my origami?
Oh, you send them all the day, mate.
Yeah.
I'll take you a picture of it. I've got my X-Fighter, I made a giraffe, I've got a dragon, which is a good one. Yeah,
Yes.
I'll send you some afterwards.
And this is Origami Busters.
Yes, origami bosses. What's been your two hobbies the past week?
Well, my origami was my thing at the beginning of lockdown, and I've kind of faded it off now because I've made so many that I've kind of lost it.
Okay, well, my hobby at the moment, I'm going on a new venture where I'm creating some lovely steelbooks of my favourite films that don't release on steelbook. I'm having a lot of fun doing it.
Congratulations. I
Thank
liked
you.
your Home Alone one so far, and your Ace
Yes.
Ventura. And we're
Yes.
excited for many more to come.
You can check
Yes.
them out on my Twitter account.
He's got an Instagram for it.
Yeah,
You have a separate Instagram account for the custom steelbooks.
I do. At Custom
Plug it.
Steelbooks.
At custom steelbooks isn't taken.
No.
Wow.
Stole
People are
that,
missing
mate.
tricks. People are missing tricks.
Okay, after all that waffling, today we're going to be talking about 13. It's a film that's been selected by our fantastic viewers or listeners, whatever you want to be called. But first, we got to do the staple of every episode, which is the quiz. Do you want to take it away, Ben?
So, Paul, would you kindly tell me what the scores are so far with this quiz?
Oh, shit.
Well, we got his bullshit 2 points last week.
4, 9, 8.
Yeah, Adam with 9, Paul with 8, and Ben with 4. If you haven't listened to this before, it's very simple. It's a quiz question, and you know how they work. I ask these boys 2 questions. If they get it right, they get a point. If they get it wrong, I get a point. So there's a lot of making up to do this week. So let's go. Are you ready?
Yes!
Go ahead. You tell him you didn't do your homework is the tagline for what movie?
Oh, bro. I can picture it happening. The Breakfast Club.
Incorrect. Paul?
Shit.
Um,
I'm going to have to give you a timer, my son, of 5 seconds.
High School Musical.
My boys.
Go on.
It was Kindergarten Cop.
Oh! Of course it is.
Really?
Since the last episode, listeners, Adam watched Kindergarten Cop and he gave it a 6 out of 10. This is a 10 out of 10 film as far as I'm concerned. This prick doesn't know what he's talking about.
You know you're the only paid person on my letterbox to give it a 10. Everyone else
Good.
is giving it a 7 or below.
Well, I wear that badge with pride. Anyone who knows anything about anything will give that film a 10. I'm glad you didn't get it, you little prick. Shows you weren't even paying attention to the cover art.
I
Idiot.
watched it on
That's a
Netflix.
point
I
for
didn't have
Ben.
the cover art.
Good. I'm glad I got to bitch slap you with Kindergarten Cop.
He should have got it. It was fresh in his memory. He should have got it.
Should have got it. Terrible. You could guess that one. Anyway, you ready? Here's
You're
the
in
second
nursery.
question.
You're not doing fucking homework.
Here's the second question. I'll be actually quite amazed if either of you get it, but it's a
Okay.
very good question, and it relates to 13. Are you ready now?
Yeah.
What is the name of the Jack Black film the two girls pretend to go and see in the cinema scene? It's a
God.
fake movie. What's the
I know.
title?
I could tell. I was thinking that when I was looking at the poster. That's a fake movie.
Like Zebra Ranger or something like that.
What'd you say?
Zebra Ranger.
I don't know what he said, but that's not the right
It's
answer.
got something to do with animals.
I don't know what you said then either. What's your answer, Paul?
I'm not getting
Tubby Boy.
No. The correct answer would be The Misadventures of Ezekiel Balls.
Yeah, never would have got that.
Oh, no.
Never would have got that.
Good. I'm very glad. And that's 2 points for Ben. I'll take that, thank you.
Very
I'll make
well
things
done.
interesting again.
Very well done.
9-8-6. I gained on both
I'm
fronts.
going to ring up Arnie and say to him, why is the tagline for Kindergarten Cop something to do with homework when in your nursery you don't get given homework?
No, because the point is, like, it's Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger is your teacher, so it's like, go ahead, you tell him you didn't do your homework, because you should be terrified of him.
I don't think you can argue that, Adam.
No.
Be like, go ahead, tell him you didn't sleep in your nap time.
So there was one other question I was going to ask instead of that Kindergarten Cop one, but I decided to replace it. And I was just out of interest. This is not a valid question,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
who would
Okay.
have got this? Evan Rachel Wood, who's the main girl in this, dated which shock rocker 3 years after this film was made when she turned 18?
Shock rocker.
Yeah.
Gene Simmons.
No, but
Jesus
I mean, you're in the right
Christ.
ballpark, but no.
Really? That
I'm thinking
old?
old and creepy.
Maybe not quite that old.
The guy from Rolling Stones, what's his name?
Mick Jagger.
Nah. He's got a lot of kids, that's all I know.
No, it's none of the Rolling Stone.
Marilyn Manson.
Yes.
Okay.
So that was
Really?
the answer, but and we can discuss this once we get into the episode. I found out some very unsavoury things about her relationship
Ooh,
with him.
tell
and
me.
we'll talk about that later in the
Yes.
episode.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Juicy.
So that's
gossip.
it from me. Off you go, boys.
Should we go to the main event?
The main event. Here is our feature topic, plus Adam might do a rubbish plot summary.
Fucking serious.
Right, guys, yes, we are talking about 13 today. This is a spoiler episode, so everything we will be talking about will be spoiler related. So if you have not seen the film, go and watch it and come back and listen to it then. First of all, before we go to Adam's beautiful plot summary of the film, we have a lovely clip sent in from Scott, who chose this film for us to watch. And this is his little review of it.
Hey, Scott here. Thank you so much, everyone, for championing my film, 13. I'm buzzed that it's got so much love, and I'm eager to see what the film busters think of it. My reason for choosing this film is purely because it is, for me, I believe, a masterpiece in cinema, and it's about the core performances. Evan Rachel Wood is absolutely superb, and her work with Holly Hunter within this is just brilliant, and I can't even scream about this film enough. Filmed in kind of like documentary style, the rooting it all in an unusually sensitive portrait of the mother and the daughter. It's just a brilliant film, and I can't wait to hear what the film busters think of it. So let's see.
Oh, thanks for that, Scott. That was good. And I'm very glad that it won, because I was secretly rooting for it as well. I'd always wanted to see that film, 13. You know, when I first came across it was back in the days of Blockbusters, when you used to be able to walk into Blockbusters, and it was always, without fail, in the bargain bin for you to buy the ex-rental copies of it for like £2 or £3. But for some reason, I never bought it. So
I think
it's
that's
been a
probably
long
where
time
my
coming.
copy came from.
You didn't want to look like a dirty old man.
That's it. A film about 13-year-old girls. But considering I was like 17, 18, I wasn't that much of an old man at that point. But
Oh,
there you go.
yeah, that's a paedophile.
Yes, it would be. If I bought that film, that's what it would have made me, yes.
So, first of all, go on, Adam.
Yeah, so as you've just heard from Scott there about what he thought of the film, I'll wrap it up a little bit more. I don't really add much more, but yeah, it's about two 13-year-old girls. They're best friends, but they effectively turn into sisters, and one of the girls is desperate to become friends with the other one, and it's all about the limits she would go and out pushing her mother and all the relationships that come between all these three main characters throughout this film. And they're also doing a lot of stuff that 13-year-old girls definitely shouldn't be doing.
Amen.
Go on, Adam, you go first then. Carry on.
Okay, I'm going first. I gave this film 7 out of 10. It's a very weird 7 out of 10 for me, because I didn't hate it's not like, oh, that was an average film. It was a very good film. It was very well acted, very well made. But at the end of the day, I was like, oh, that was a good film. And then that was kind of it for me. I don't know. I can see why this film means a lot to some people, and I definitely don't blame people for that. And like, when someone said this might be my favourite film, I'd be like, totally see that. That's a very interesting point. But for me, it was just a very good film, and that was it. I didn't really engage with it beyond that point, if that makes sense.
Fair enough.
Oh yes.
So you liked it more than Kindergarten Cop then? We get that?
No.
It was a better
Yes.
film, but I'd probably, if you went, what would you rather rewatch? I'd probably pick Kindergarten Cop over there.
Oh, your logic's all arse backwards, mate. You are
Hey,
a very
there's a
strange
difference between a
individual.
film being good and being rewatchable. Schindler's List is a very good film, not very rewatchable.
Haven't watched it once. Haven't watched it once.
Heavy stuff.
Anyway, let's stick with you then, Ben.
I gave this film an 8 when it finished. The day afterwards, I was like what you said, Adam. Really liked the film, but I kind of feel like it was good for what it was, and it didn't really stay with me. But several days later, and thinking of it again today, it's moved back up to an 8. And the reason is because I think, and we're going to get into this as a conversation because I know Paul has strong views on this actually, I think it's important to acknowledge how significant this film was and how much it must have laid the groundwork for a lot of films that followed about what it was like not only to be a young person going through troublesome times at that time, but also what it was like to be a girl, what potentially the implied what it was like to be from the LGBT community as well as a young person. And there were not a lot of films that I can think of that came out before this that did it quite as well as this film did, and I think that it deserves the extra point for that, and we can discuss that later.
Yeah.
So it's an
Nice.
8.
Nice. I give this film a 7 out of 10. It's brilliantly acted. It's very engaging. I was never bored at any point. I was with the story all the time. But because it's like a deeply like personal story about like a certain time in a woman's life, it's like I think to truly appreciate like the pain she's going through, you have to kind of see a part of yourself in the story. And I didn't really, because that just wasn't me. And it wasn't because I'm like a male. It's not because I'm looking for the male story. Because 8th Grade encapsulated my childhood phenomenally. I absolutely love that film, and maybe that's why I like dampen it a little bit because of that film. But yeah, I was just not in that headspace like Tracy was. And even though I enjoyed it as much as I could, I did kind of hate them throughout the whole film.
I think I kind of agree with you there a bit, Paul.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's such a good film, but that's where it stopped for me. I didn't engage enough with the people or relate enough to maybe the story. In some ways, there's parts of you that you pick up on a little bit, but there's a lot that goes on in this film where you kind of really need to take from it. Maybe not exactly the story they're telling you, but take little elements of that out back with you
100%.
out of the film. But I also saying this, it's a 7 out of 10, but maybe if I watched it on a different day, maybe in a different environment, maybe in a different mood, I would happily give it an 8. Like, this is what I'm saying, it's such a weird 7 for me. Like, I'm not saying it's bad at all, it is a great film, and I could quite happily give it an 8, and I'd stand by that for years to come, and 7 is that way. It's a weird...
I agree with that. It was never going further down than a 7, but it's just
No,
because
of course it can't.
it didn't like touch me personally.
It didn't stick with me enough to get like above an 8, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was kind of on the borderline between the two.
So,
That
yes.
all makes sense. I can get what you're saying, but interesting that you say 8th Grade, Paul, because that's exactly the film that I was thinking of when I thought actually these sorts of films, although very tonally different, because this is like 18 rated stuff,
Yeah.
it laid the groundwork, because not to
course.
say that 8th Grade wouldn't have been made had this film not been made, but it definitely follows in its footsteps, and I think this is kind of like, if you could make this film now, if that director and the writer had just been teenagers recently now, or whatever their path was, and they decided to make this film now, it would look and feel very differently, because it was also very much of its time. It had a big noughties vibe.
Yeah,
a
totally.
big noughties vibe. And
It reminds me a
that was
lot of
kind
Boyhood.
nice.
That's the kind of style it was kind of going with.
Well, it reminded me of, not Boyhood, what was that film that I fucking love, and I can't believe I've forgotten the name
gritty. Like mid-90s as well.
of. Yeah,
It's that kind
mid-90s,
of-
yeah. Mid-90s
that
is
style,
far
yeah,
superior.
I get that. That like Scott said in a thing, like a kind of almost a documentary, very gritty, just film what kind of feels like you're just filming what's going on, and you're not actually setting anything up. It's just happening.
Yeah, the filmmaking, the directing is actually
Great.
incredible. It's probably one of the best things about the film is how it's shot,
Yeah,
how it's
and all
edited.
the performances throughout the film are great as well. Like everything about it's a very well made film. Like I'm not taking that away from it. I don't think I've seen many films by this director either. I think I think there's one or two other ones I've seen by her. But
Twilight.
I'm happy to see more. I haven't seen Twilight though.
What, she directed Twilight?
Yeah, the first
Did
Twilight.
she?
Are you kidding?
Mm.
Well, I haven't seen any of them, so I can't judge, but I'm surprised.
But it was written by one of the girls in the film, wasn't it?
Yeah, so
Evie.
Evie, yeah.
Nikki Reed.
So
yeah.
that she kind of wrote it. She didn't really write it.
It's
She
based
sort of
on-
worked
Co-wrote.
with the director, and it's like based on her personal story.
Mm.
She was
Which is-
the Evan.
She was like
Rachel-
17
Rachel
at the
Wood.
time.
Yeah.
It was the other one, wasn't it? Oh, she was her, but she played her friend.
She was actually supposed to play the Tracy role, but then it went to Evan Rachel
okay.
Wood. Talking about the cinematography, what immediately I think of when you talk about great direction was when, do you remember when they're in, it's like a wide shot of the living room, and you see
Jenny's.
them
I
all
know
running
exactly what
towards
you're
each
going to
other.
say.
Yeah,
And
running
Jenny,
towards each other
Jenny
fighting.
like this one. Yes.
Yeah, and it's like the
camera
camera
was
like
tilted.
tilts, it's tilting, and it
Yes,
tilts either
indeed.
way. That was great.
Yeah, it was. And the colours, the saturated colours throughout, as she went like more and more into it, it got more
Yeah.
washed out. And then when she wakes up at the end of the film, all the colours are back, and it's like, oh, hope. But it was very, very well directed. And at first, it took me a while to settle into it. Those first 15 minutes, I wasn't sure I was going to like it at all, because it was too fast, too like... I don't know what's going on in any of these scenes. I'm not getting enough time to get a vibe of anything, and we're quickly shifting pace. But then it was kind of like that sort of reflects the mindset, I guess, of a teenager, but a teenage girl at that time, like moving from one thing to another, not quite sure of her identity at that point. So everything was kind of like frantic.
It was very frantic, wasn't it?
It was.
You were thrown in there straight away. There was no I thought there'd be more of a build up of her trying to win her friendship over, but it was kind of like she did one thing and that was enough for her to be accepted in.
Exactly that.
Which
It
kind of
was-
says a lot about the period of film, or the
Yeah.
period of your life you are in at that moment. You'll just jump on a bandwagon straight away and go, okay, this is me for the next year.
Yes.
Yeah, it just went from like seeing her in the school, then it went to her approaching her and getting her number, and then suddenly they were
Dressed
just
up as someone, they
friends
were
in the
dressed
shop.
differently. She came in the next day dressed differently, and was that it?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I just felt it's called so they're 13 years old. They're meant to be. It's just such a weird age to be putting these girls in. It's also kind of stands out, makes it quite stand out. It was quite a powerful film as well, because you'd say if somebody else was to write this film now, they probably wouldn't make these girls 13. They might age them a bit. They might make them 16, 17. So some of the things that they're doing might become more acceptable, because it is quite a young age to have these girls doing what they're doing. Even
Yeah,
on
it
film.
is for
'Cause
sure.
The actress as well, they were 16, 17 at the time, weren't they?
Yeah, they were older, but I think that's what makes it seem more crazy, because you know that
Yeah.
they couldn't really have cast 13-year-old girls in this film and have them
Yeah.
do what they were doing. It would
Yeah, it was
it would have
crazy.
been completely inappropriate. So
And there was a bit of me at the moment when it felt like you said at the beginning, I'm not gonna like it. There was a bit of me dealing with that as well. It's just like, okay, these are 13-year-old girls doing this. Like, again, like obviously it happens in life, but I haven't been in that. So how much can you actually believe straight on? Then you look back to when you were probably that age,
yeah.
and now you look at a 13-year-old, you think, oh, you're really young, but at that time you thought, oh, hey, I'm a teenager now. Like,
Yeah,
I'm old
well, it's
now,
a very
like-
rebellious point for
Yeah.
most kids when they hit the teenage years, one way or the other. But particularly for her environment, you know, her home environment. Her mother's an alcoholic. The dad doesn't really want to be around. He's gone absent. She feels
Yeah.
neglected. So already you've got that quite intense home environment. And unless you've had something similar to that, you can't really say how you would react. But people can react differently in those situations. Someone could have that background and be a really well-adjusted, like grade A student, flies right, no dramas, or you can go the other way that she went. There are lots of kids in this country and America for sure, increasingly at these young ages who are doing some crazy shit.
yeah, of course there is. Like,
The kids are not
especially when
all
you're
right,
young.
as the saying goes.
It's just younger and younger, you're getting older and older. You think back at 13, the way they talk to the kids nowadays, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't dream of
What
it.
was the most rebellious thing you did when you were 13?
Oh, God,
Try
I
and
don't
think
know.
back.
I can't even imagine where I
I was
was
just
when I
doing
was
a lot of
13.
Think of the
fucking around,
year.
to
Think
be
of the
fair.
year, and then you'll work out where you were at.
I don't think I can. All those years just blend into one.
It was like the first year of secondary school, wasn't it? Is that when you're 13? Or you're
Yeah,
12,
yeah,
first year of
is it?
secondary school?
You're 13. You're in year 9.
8,
You're
is
just
it?
going into year 9.
Is
Okay.
it? I don't know.
Yeah.
So year 9's a weird year because it's a year that you kind of, before you really get into being an adult, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
you got your GCSEs up the next year, like, Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell you probably one event that happened because I don't know how old I was when all of this. But yeah, you're just fucking around, aren't you? You're just going
You're
out
just
every day
fucking
with your
around.
mates and on your bikes. Just
This is why
Just
I
doing
think
whatever
mid
happens at the
'90s appealed to me more, because that was more what I was doing, like breaking into places and skateboarding,
yeah,
and that was me in that kind of era.
going where you're not meant to do and just fucking around and causing trouble.
Yeah,
Just cycling around on your bike and knocking on doors until someone said yeah.
but I wasn't bad to my parents.
No.
No, can't relate.
You wasn't bad to your parents. Oh, I see
Never.
what you're saying. Yeah. No, I know.
Well, you might not think it, but try not.
You probably did some stuff that, yeah.
I'll do. Yeah, I was probably doing stuff that they would not approve of, but I wasn't pushing it in their faces like Tracy was.
I know, but that's for shit. She was going down a different path altogether, mate. Alcohol,
Yeah.
sex, drugs, that's
Yeah,
all very,
yeah.
very different. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, just because none of us are girls, so, doesn't mean that we can't. It's
Oh,
a
no, you
different
can't not
situation
relate
to us,
to it,
but you can
it's-
still relate to the whole thing.
But you can also you can also then take the film in a different advantage of just going through the story of it. You don't have to almost relate in some ways, but it's a story. It's a film that holds up in many ways. Like you can either take loads of things from it and go, make a nostalgia about your childhood, or think, I went through these same emotions as they did, or you can just enjoy the story of it because it's still at the end of the day, it's a good story.
It's a good story. It's very harsh.
At the end of them, you kind of. The older you get, probably the more you want to snap out of it as well. You're like, just say no, just don't do that today. Just say I'm not going today. Like all those
Yeah.
kind of little things. Like
The thing that's interesting is that a lot of it comes down to point of view, because I know you said that you were sort of annoyed by them or you hated them, but like by the end or all the way along, Tracy's story. You're seeing her home life and whatnot. So as you get towards the end, Evie is like the fucking evil bitch, even though you know she's got some shit going on at home, but you're not really seeing that, so you think, oh, she's the evil cunt. But if this film had been flipped and it was actually focusing on her as the main story and you saw even more of her backstory, then you would have sympathy for her and less so for Tracy, perhaps. And it all comes down to backstory of anyone who on surface level is a cunt. If a film does it right and explores the backstory, the home environment, the social factors, it can win you round through sympathy to someone who is an unsympathetic person.
Of course.
the bad person always film doesn't get their side of the story told fully. That's all that happens.
Do you know who I hated the most in this film? Was fucking Vanessa Hudgens. Not because of anything she did in this film, but she said some absolute stupid shit in the last couple of weeks about coronavirus. You hear this?
Oh, I thought you meant in the film.
Oh yeah. She
What'd
came
she
out on
say?
social media and said it wasn't real. Just kind of do what you want
these
to do.
people,
and-
man.
No,
these
she
people.
did say it wasn't real, but she said, look, people are going to
She was downplaying
die
it,
regardless anyway, so,
Yeah.
just carry on.
Oh, shut up.
Like, you dumb fuck.
She did come out afterwards and say something about it. I remember that part. But
Well,
Of course you
too
do.
late. The
Easy
words
to
that came out of her
apologise afterwards, yeah. Don't say it.
Yeah.
People never apologise for things that they haven't been caught doing. You ever heard anyone come out and apologise for something that no one knew they did? Anyone come out and be like, I just want everyone to know I cheated on my wife for 15 years. None of you knew about it, but I'm coming out and apologising for it now. Then you'd go, fuck me, that's an apology.
a lot of people
That's
own
a
up
brave
probably for
person.
cheating 'cause they can't live with the guilt. Like sins, isn't it? It's like going to a confession booth.
Should we go back to this film now?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to say that I think it's a very brave film, because people wouldn't do these films nowadays. Talking about a 13-year-old girl and the situation they get put into, like
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That the age would have been older if they did it now.
Yeah,
wouldn't
of
it?
course,
Like,
of course. Like when the two girls are like making out with that older guy, so uncomfortable, such an uncomfortable scene. Because
I was
it's like,
listening to them in an interview today, and they
Yeah.
were saying that he was 27,
oh right,
and they had to really prepare themselves for it. Like the director, was like, I want you to both be comfortable with it. But apparently the two of them were practicing on each other in the trailer.
like they did in the film.
Yeah,
that just makes it even more uncomfortable.
that was an uncomfortable scene, eh?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it is a film where you have to look I feel that's why I found it weird, even that they're 17. When I looked up the age that they would have been during this film, I was expecting them to be maybe 18, 19, because a film where for such a young actress you lay everything bare, like it's such a revealing role, and it's such a role you could probably have to throw yourself into for, wouldn't it? You
Yes.
can't. It's not a film that you kind of just do on a whim and move on, make some money in, is it? It's one of those. Yeah.
It's very brave stuff because it put the best films make you feel uncomfortable. I think really, if you're doing a film that is going to be
Like that,
something
yeah.
like a hard hitting film,
course.
make me as uncomfortable as possible because then you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
You wouldn't remember if it was kind of an easy sale and everything went right.
That's right. That's brutal. That scene at the end where her mum is kissing the scars up her arm, that is
Yeah.
intense, man.
Yeah, it's very, very much so.
And I didn't clock at first. You know that first time she goes into her bathroom and she takes the scissors out of the cabinet?
I
And
thought
then
she was
it
cutting her
cuts
hair.
away. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't know what she's doing. And then I forgot about it. And then when she went in the next time, I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
that's what she's doing, eh? That's heavy stuff, guys.
See, I can totally see why, like, so many people can relate to this film. It hits such a wide market of like females growing up or young males growing up. Like all the brutal stuff that happens. Like so many people can relate. But to me, immediately when it's their social circles, that's when I can never relate because I hate popular people in school. I hate them. And
Yes.
like looking at 8th grade, that was my kind of level. And
Yeah, 8th
where
grade,
she's
lovely.
where she's just trying to fit in, and that was me growing up. Like you're not in the geeky people. You're not in the popular people. You're just in the
You're
middle.
in the middle, yeah.
And you're just trying to get along and like survive in a harsh environment. And
Yes.
I could totally
Like
relate
Jimmy
more to
Eat
that than just like lashing out at parents and lashing out at other people and being like a rude, ignorant person.
But
Yeah.
people go different ways, though, innit, mate? Like, it's
Totally.
just different personalities.
That's what I mean.
Like, they could have come from the same environment. Like, the girl from 8th grade could have been this girl, just
Exactly.
walking a different
She
path.
was
Just
trying to
what path
make
you go.
friends. She was quite desperate to make friends. It's just whether the friends latched onto you and you do with what you went. And that's the only difference. Where I think this film was almost from that.
I could have met one of the popular kids in school and become this popular guy in school, and I would have related to this story more. But that just wasn't me. So it's just where you go in your own life and what you can relate to.
It's just
Well,
a film
relating
about,
is different thing, yeah. Relating is different.
I don't even know if you have to relate. It's just about people trying to find their identity in life. It's like you think that's right at the time, but when you get down deep into it, and you might not want that. That's all this film really is.
I don't know. I think this is quite a personal story. I think you have to love it so much. I think you have to relate in a personal way.
I feel like you can just take from it the part of just trying to find your identity in life.
I think it is an extreme version of what many young girls may have gone through. Like, obviously not necessarily all to this extent and extremity, but it's drugs, it's alcohol, and it's sex, and it's pressure to be popular. It's all four of those things at their most extreme in this film, coupled with self-harm, troubles at home, all of those things. And girls 100% have it worse than boys, 100%, because they always have to worry about popularity, how they are perceived, how they look, how they conduct themselves for both boys and girls, whereas boys don't really give a shit. Like the old joke is boys just do stupid shit to annoy one another, but girls will tease each other, and teasing each other is much more of a mental thing.
Yeah.
And also not to be flippant, I don't know the right word about this, but I also think it's probably quite telling that I think a lot of young gay guys will identify with this film more than straight gay guys, because there are
Straight
elements...
gay.
Huh?
You said straight gay guys.
Yes, straight gay guys. You haven't heard of them?
I just wondered if you'd got your words twisted.
Yeah, I had. And then you didn't go with a joke, so that fell even flatter. I forgot what I was going to say now, anyway.
You said how people
No,
identify
finish
from
that
different
point.
backgrounds.
I want to hear. I want you
Different
to broadcast that point. Go on.
I forgot what the point was, but I was saying that I think that gay guys probably appreciate this maybe a little more than straight guys, because they are seeing sexuality, a suppressed sexuality, up on screen in a way that they can relate to more than if this was a straight boy story, right? Let's take an example. Mid-90s. That young kid who is 11 maybe in the centre of that film, he
Yes,
goes and fingers a girl and she asks for it, who is like 17, 18. And you don't even think about that being wrong, really. Or I did, but I don't think it doesn't linger with you like that. However,
Scarring.
these girls are older than he was in that film, and we're making a point of talking about how sexuality was really uncomfortable and whatnot. So it's a double standard there. And I think gay guys can probably relate to it more, because gay guys and their sexual inclination is probably on a comparative level on a scale with how girls are not supposed to be these sexual beings because they become sluts, whereas boys can go out there and sleep and finger who they want, and they're legends. And I think gay guys on the spectrum probably identify more with that oppression that women get. I probably haven't articulated that well, but that's what
like what I said, it goes back to the whole point. This film is all about finding your identity, and if you ever went through that period of your life, you just take it in different points.
You're right, yeah. Identity.
You don't necessarily have to live this exact story that they've lived, but this film is about finding identity, and that's what it is. This is just an extreme version of finding your identity. There's other films that will look at it through maybe a year of your life, or this is, what is it, over 2 years, probably I would have said? Was it?
I can't really remember.
Well, no, it wasn't that long, was it? It can't have been that long.
I feel like it was like 6 months or something.
Yeah, I don't think it was that long.
Yeah, maybe it is now. Just said that. I've just thought about it differently. Yeah, but yeah, it's all about finding your identity in that period of your life when you're so young and quite easily influenced by somebody if you want to be with that person.
Yes, it's true. I was very happy to see Jeremy Sisto turn up.
Oh, yes. Yes.
He made me very happy when he rocked up.
Billy.
I let out a cheer. And then I was glad that he wasn't a total arsehole. Because once you realised that she didn't like him, and then you saw that quick flashback of him in the bathroom all hopped up on whatever, I thought, he's going to have abused her. But that never came out, did it?
No.
I think it's also like kind of a story about people being a product of their environment. Because it's always about like how the parents and what their situation is, and she's hooking up with this guy who's a drug addict, and what's her name's mum, Evie's mum. She's like some plastic surgeon, old actress who's, I don't know what she's doing. Is she a prostitute as well? Because some guy was in the house with her.
I think she was just like a bit of a bimbo.
Yeah.
But I think it's like a little bit about that as well, being a product of your environment and lashing out at that.
Yes, I think so. And also, the interesting thing is that it can also be seen as this coming out movie, because even though it's not explicit in it, you could kind of get the feeling that they could be a lesbian couple on the brink of it.
I thought it was going to go that way at one point. Even before they started kissing, it was like a love that they had between each other that I think they both actually felt in the end. Maybe one of them forced it on the other one or wanted it more than the other one, but by the end of it, they both felt a love for each other. But their love was built around such a toxic relationship that it couldn't last. It was kind of lighting the candle at both ends. Because they were like sisters. They were sisters in the end, effectively. That's what it was. It was more than a friendship.
Well, I don't know. They were tonguing each other, mate.
I don't do that on my sister.
Don't think so. Oh, please leave it. Leave it. And tell me this. What do you think about the fact that Evan Rachel Wood is bisexual in real life then? Can you think this is maybe like a movie that was made and helped her realise her true feelings?
That's what I was saying. It's a film that it could be like what I said earlier, that the film is, you can't just do this film and move on and forget about it. This is the film that sticks with you, and you probably have to have, you would be related to that. You would have some relationship to this character throughout your life, maybe, because like, it's such a young age to do this film that you'd have to be, maybe. I don't know where that point was going in the end, but yes.
It's like you just stopped your point. They went, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of just realised I was waffling a bit, but it's such a powerful piece of acting at such a young age that it's going to influence you in some way, probably.
Tell us this thing about Evan Rachel Wood, Ben.
So, Evan Rachel Wood, when I was going to ask you that question about Marilyn Manson, and then I went online, and in 2018, she went before the US Senate and put this bill forward about domestic abuse. And you can see the video on YouTube after this. It's 4 minutes long. And she gives this, she reads a statement from a piece of paper. And everyone is saying, this is about Marilyn Manson. It's well documented that it is about Marilyn Manson, but she couldn't use his name. And essentially, he tied her up, beat the shit out of her constantly, thought she was unconscious several times, drugged her and raped her, and she woke up to him raping her several times. He has been on the record as saying that he wrote a song called I Want to Kill You like they do in the movies, and he fantasized, this is after they broke up, about smashing her skull in with a sledgehammer. I thought, what a deeply fucked up person he is, because I kind of like Marilyn Manson a little, or used to, and I thought he was a pretty switched on guy. I thought he was like spoofing how ridiculous fame and money and celebrity and all that shit is, but he sounds like an absolute cunt.
Wow.
And she was only 18 when they hooked up. 2 years after this film was made, he did that to her.
Because since she was in Westworld, wasn't she the first? Well, I've only watched the first season of Westworld. I haven't watched it since. But I followed her on like Instagram and Twitter after that. I think I was like, oh, let's just see what you got to say. And she was always going on about like sexual abuse and standing up. I think it was around the time of the Me Too movement as well.
That's it.
She was a big advocate for all of that.
She put forward this bill. Yeah, she put forward this bill, and I can't remember what the bill related to.
Yeah, I remember seeing her go on about it now since you said all of that. But I never knew what it was about. Didn't really read in deeper than that.
It's very fucked up.
Very fucked up. That's abuse of power, mate.
But see how he gets away with it. See how Marilyn Manson gets away with that. Like how does he not get any? How is there no comeback on him for that? I don't get it. Like increasingly now, I don't get it. With the Me Too thing, how is he not cancelled?
Is it the power that you can't stand up against something?
But fucking Weinstein was the most powerful man in the world.
Yeah, but there was. It's the whole thing that there was loads of people coming out against him. Whereas if it's just her saying it, then
how much money you
the
got?
leg to stand on and what it can do to your career. It's still shameful, but yes.
Can't pay off everyone.
There's a documentary coming out on Netflix about Jeffrey Epstein, all about how he got away with it for so long, and the power and the money that he had. And
money, mate. It's about money. That's all it's about. That's how you get away with it all.
If you're connected.
Disgusting people.
So anyway, we're not talking about Marilyn Manson.
No, you don't deserve to be spoken
about him, is it?
She was strong in this, and she went on to be even stronger in Westworld, and that's why I was thinking about it, because it made me think her character in Westworld. I know you haven't seen later seasons, Adam, but
go for it.
The way that she is in Westworld, it kind of is like an extension of what she went through in her personal life. It's like, I am going to lead people and free them,
even from the first series, because her first series, she was raped in the first series, wasn't she? She was like Robot. That was just a product for people to have fun with. It really was effectively.
Adam, I would say if you can make it through the second, the third is worth getting through the second, because the second one is very poor by comparison to the third.
I watched half of it and I just couldn't get into it. I just couldn't stick with it.
Season 2 was hard.
They're so long. They're like over an hour, like full on hour each time. It's just a lot.
It's also one of the most complex shows I've ever watched.
It is.
Exactly, and it's not enough to draw you in. It's not enough going on in the second. The first series was really good. But the second one, I thought there wasn't enough to keep you engaged, but there is so much happening at the same time.
The shame is that they went away from the basic concepts of this theme park where you could go and interact with robots, and it's something else entirely now.
Yeah, I that first season was absolutely fantastic. I've only watched the first episode of the third season, but
that's why I kind of don't want to watch it, because I just want to keep that memory of the first series being good. And leave it as like a one entity rather than developing it on. Letting that ruin it for you.
Vincent Cassell's in the third. Anyway, anything else?
Should we hear what our viewers have got to say about this film?
Oh yes, our viewers, like we're on fucking television.
Or listeners then. Paul calls them both, so our lovely viewers call them.
I know. That's what happens when you have a long, illustrious career on YouTube.
Yes.
I call people viewers.
You still doing your YouTubes?
Not since we've been locked down.
You should do some Zoom YouTubes.
I don't have time. I'm too busy doing steelbooks.
This cunt. If you tell me one more time you don't have time or you're busy. Listen, listeners, let me tell you a story about this guy over here. About a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, in fact your birthday, 3 months ago, I give this gentleman a book
30th birthday
by Stephen King called The Dark Tower, the first and the second, mind you, because he wanted to go on his journey. I gifted it to him. This motherfucker tells me 5-6 weeks ago, I say, how are you doing with it? Tells me I'm too busy, he says. I say, what? He says, I have got a son, I'm too busy, I've got no free time. I've got more free time when I'm at work. This motherfucker out here making steelbooks left, right and centre and shit tells me he's too busy.
Do you remember when I was doing jury duty in January and I said, send me those books? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to send them to you so you can read them during jury duty. When do they go? Never came, did they?
I wanted to give them to you in person.
Oh, did you?
Which
Is
I
that what
did.
it was?
Yes.
Well, it's no good to me doing jury service,
Save
was
all
it?
that postage and packaging.
Now Paul uses them to prop up his empty steelbooks while he's spray painting them and shit.
Yeah, your books are covered in paint now, mate.
I bet you they're underneath your alarm clock.
Ingrate.
They're actually in a cupboard.
What an
Even
ingrate.
worse.
Back
Once
of
you
the
put it in the
cupboard.
cupboard, it's not coming back out again.
Anyway, this has nothing to do with the film that we're talking about, and we still got to get to the people's reviews.
Let's
Should we
do
get to
it.
the people's reviews?
Go on, Paul.
Yes.
Right, so firstly, we have Bobby Brandt, and she says, such an important film. When I watched it as a teen, it felt like all my feelings shone back to me, and I immediately made my mum watch it in some weird hope that she'd understand me more through it, and maybe a bit to show her how good she had it with me.
Oh, yes.
Very good.
All our parents should be shown it. In fact, that was something that I said to Jenny afterwards. This movie, do you think it is more for the kids who are going through that, or the parents who have kids going through that?
Oh,
I thought,
I think
maybe-
if you had a child like that, then this would resonate with you so much.
Yeah. So you
It's
think more
kids,
for the
but I said-
adults?
Both.
But like again, if it depends how you look at the film, you could take whatever you want away from it. If you want to take the story, you take the feelings away from it. You from different ages, you view the film in different things. Maybe if Paul was a bit younger when he watched this film, he wouldn't find them so annoying. Anyway, this one here is from Kim Morrison. She has to say, "Oh man, I adore this movie and watched it loads as a teenager. Such an interesting look at the pressures of being a teenage girl. Plus, amazing Katie Rose songs on the soundtrack."
Who is Katie Rose?
I don't actually know, to be fair.
I'm guessing
Let's have a
she's the audio you hear during the DVD menu, because we all got it on DVD, right?
Yeah,
That DVD menu had a real 90s vibe.
Proper 90s.
Yeah, I had it.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. And finally, Bridget Krauth said, absolutely obsessed with it when I was younger. Captured how as a teenager we want to fit in, be loved, but also not confined into a box. The need to act out and just have no fear of consequences. Still very dear to my heart. You can't argue with that. Everyone talking about how much it meant to them as youngsters.
Yeah.
And, you know, it did its fucking job then, right?
Of course it did.
Did its job.
Do you reckon it would resonate more if we watched this when we were younger?
Maybe a little bit more.
Possibly, yeah. Maybe
So I
about
feel
10
like
years
you-
ago, yeah.
Yeah, you get the younger you get, the older you get, so the more you probably
Fucking Benjamin
realise-
Button?
The more you, yeah,
The younger you get.
the older you get, the more you realise probably how much of a dick you were as a teenager, because at that time you thought it was, and then as you grow older, you grow out of these things and realise
Yeah.
you're part of growing as a human being. But
It's
if you
true.
were still the same person you were when you're 13, you'd probably be annoyed at yourself 20 years on, Ben.
Well, I'll
20
tell you
years
what's
and a
interesting,
couple of
actually.
years, probably.
What's an interesting glimpse? I don't know about you two boys, but like I said to you, I had to show a picture at my workplace Zoom call today of when I was 20. So I was scrolling all the way back through my Facebook to find pictures from that time. And around about that time, when you posted pictures, this is 14 fucking years ago, mind you, you had to write text next to it about what it was, so you couldn't just upload a photo. And the way that I was talking back then is like, who the fuck is this guy? Why are you talking like that? You sound like such a
And that wasn't
dickhead.
even when you were 20, was it? That would probably be like mid-Facebook.
No, that was 20. So I was 20. The 2006, I was 20.
So Facebook been up for 14 years.
It's longer than that, mate. Facebook's
Really?
been up since when I went to uni, 2004 maybe. I think.
Really? Fuck.
Facebook formed when? 2004, there you go.
So it's probably big, like kind of the end of the noughties, probably kind of right.
But yeah, the younger you are, the more you'll connect with that stuff, I suppose. Especially if you see it as a kid, as most of these people, I assume, did.
It's almost like a snapshot of your childhood.
Maybe these people, when they have kids of their own or get to a certain age, they might view it all differently and start to sympathise and take different parts from the film.
Well, what film did you watch as a teen that, not that you liked when you were a teenager, that you felt represented you on screen at that point?
Oh, Girl Next Door.
Isn't that a
resonates with me.
fucking
It's a
silly comedy?
Yeah.
Oh,
It
mate.
resonates with me, mate, because I was in that same headspace that guy was.
Oh God, I don't think I could watch that ever.
No, you won't like it.
So what? How can that? Why is that you then, man?
Because the headspace of the guy, he kind of in the same position as the 8th grade girl was. He was like the middle of the road guys who they don't really have a place, and they get like a little bit bullied, and he never has any attention from girls, and blah. That was me in school.
Oh, bless. Well, I'll have to watch them. What about you, Adam?
You'll hate it.
I don't really
wait,
know.
Timothy Oliphant's in it though.
Who's in it?
Timothy Oliphant, mate.
I realised I only ever liked him in Scream 2, and every time I saw him after that, I was excited, and then it was like, why are you not in anything good, mate? Just be the guy from Scream 2 in everything.
That's all you need.
I'm really trying to think right now, but I don't know.
Wasn't it Kangaroo Jack?
The thing is, I've watched loads of films when I was younger, but I probably didn't really start thinking about films probably till I was like 18, 19 when I met you guys.
You weren't 18, 19 when you met us.
You said we've been friends for 7 years earlier, and I'm 25 now.
Shit, you were 18 when we met? Fuck. That's mental, mate.
And that's the only time I really started looking at films in a different way. Like, you watch films and you enjoy a film, but you don't take from a film. You kind of
True enough.
watch films, yeah. So, yeah, I don't really know. I couldn't tell you one off the top of my head. I'd probably have to give it a deeper think. Maybe American Psycho is the first one I can see in my collection over there.
Mate, what are you talking? American Psycho.
He's been holding it in this whole time.
Yes.
You just won't accept my business card. Why do you think I've always been asking for business cards in the Film Busters? We need our own business cards.
I think mine would be John Connor. Even though I was nothing like him, he was my age. That was the only film I was watching with a kid my age at that time. So maybe I kind of wanted to be John Connor. He listened to
you
cool
did, mate.
music.
Of course you did.
Did you
He
want
had
your
a cool
dad to be
fucking
Terminator
robot
as well?
Terminator father figure. Yeah, it was all cool.
All the dreams of a kid.
Yes.
At that age, you would have swapped your dad for Terminator.
Anyone would have.
Even at this age, maybe.
Now, we've reached that point in the podcast where we say, if you were a character in this movie, which one would you be?
I'll be Noel,
Who's that?
the one who gets left behind.
Oh, Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah, I'll be Vanessa Hudgens.
Oh, diddums.
Because I would never be I would never even want to go with the cool kids.
Right.
I'll be that little girl.
Oh, yes.
You know what? I probably would have been as well. Like that stick it, just keep it going, moving. People.
Yeah.
Keep it moving, you do you. If you want to move off and leave us, then
Can't
that's
take
your
my
fault.
character, Adam. I've already taken
You'll
it.
come back eventually.
You need to be someone else, Adam. You can't be Noel.
I'll be
We
one of our
always
friends,
choose
though.
Adam's character for him. He doesn't get to choose.
That's true. Adam can be Evie, because Evie comes out of nowhere and is like real live wire rocket mentalist. You're Evie.
Okay.
I'll
Was
be...
Evie
Go
as
on,
Rachel
pick the main
Wood,
character like you always do, Ben.
I'm going to be Jeremy Sisto.
Okay, you could be him.
Just
He's
because I like to be
fallen
him.
asleep in the bathroom like he did at Adam's house.
Wait, I've done that before, mate, as you know well.
So at my house, in
Yes.
the downstairs toilet.
Yeah.
Because you give me a dry Chinese dish, mate.
No, it's because you drank a whole bottle of gin before you even got to my house.
Listen, I think we should air this on the podcast for everyone to hear. One time,
Yes.
me and Ben stayed at. This is separate to that occasion. Me and Ben stayed at Adam's house once, and for breakfast, he gave us a pre-cooked pancake with an egg in it, and that was
Well, that's all I
dry
only just moved into my house
pancake.
at the time.
It was
I only
horrendous.
just moved in.
It wasn't even a
pancake.
freshly cooked pancake. It was one in the packet.
Whatever. I didn't really plan ahead for breakfast in the morning. I just
Certainly
had what I had
didn't.
in the fridge. And that's all I had. I just moved in. I was just buying stuff, and I had 3 eggs and a couple of pancakes. I didn't even have eggs to make a pancake.
Yeah, and like we crawled into bed at about what 3 in the morning, 3:30.
Yeah, and woke me up. I
and
wasn't
was
very
playing
happy.
Arnold Schwarzenegger soundboard for ages. Kindergarten Cop. That's why you don't take kindly to it, innit?
Oh yeah.
Oh, a little bit of PTSD in my head. I was I shudder every time you think about it.
Good times. We'll have them again, boys.
Right, it's got to that time in the podcast where I reveal what film we are talking about next.
Oh yes.
Are you
Oh
excited?
yeah, shit, I forgot about this bit.
Right, so I've decided to pick this film because I know you both haven't seen it, and it's, I think, a cult classic. And
Cult classic. Oh my god! Don't
and
say what you're going to
it
say.
was actually been mentioned by one of you, probably within the last week.
All right, let's guess. Let's have a guess, eh?
Fuck.
In what context was it mentioned by one of us?
Or in a podcast or like just
Someone
just
said-
chat when we're talking.
I'm going to watch this film.
Explicitly said that.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I feel like I said that about something.
And the funny thing was, I'd already chosen this film, and I was like, oh shit, they're going to watch it.
Did I say it a few days ago?
Yeah.
Was it me who said it?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I can't even remember what the film was, but I remember saying,
And I said, no, don't watch it.
"Oh, what was it? What was it? Still can't remember what it was.
I don't know.
What was it, Adam?
I don't. You two talk a lot of shit. I don't listen to them.
Oh, They Live.
Yes!
Oh, wicked
John
choice, man.
Carpenter's They Live.
Oh, awesome.
Okay.
Nice.
Let's talk about some classic.
Nice.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Nice. Adam, you ain't seen that?
No. You
Wow.
haven't seen it either.
No, I haven't seen. It felt like the kind of film you would have seen.
It's in my watch list already as well. So
Beautiful.
All right, that's wicked. That's cool. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Bit of
So have a nice
JC.
little chat about that next time.
Wonderful.
awesome.
Right, shall I wrap this podcast up?
We're not stopping yet. We got one final thing to do.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
We got to put it into the rankings.
Oh, shit.
Oh yeah.
So then, am I right in saying that we are talking about a 7, a 7, and an 8? Yeah.
That is
It's a
correct.
7.3 then, isn't it?
So we went off mic, and this is a 7.3. There are 4 other films that are 7.3. From highest to lowest, it's It Chapter 2, Can You Ever Forgive Me, Dragged Across Concrete, and I, Tonya. And we decided collectively that this sits above all of them.
Yes.
So it sits in a very prized position of being one behind Mission Impossible Fallout, which was a banger of a film.
It deserves to be above that. There's more heart in this film than that.
There certainly is, but there hasn't got the wonderful action that Mission Impossible Fallout had.
I'll
And far
take
be it
this
from me
film.
to be
I
that
take this
Impossible
film
Fallout.
over Mission
Beautiful.
Impossible.
It's a very good position for it to be in. It's,
Yeah.
I would say it's what? Halfway. It's bang in the middle, I would say.
Yeah, sitting pretty.
Sitting pretty. Anyway, that was the episode. We love you.
Right, everyone, you can get in touch with us at FilmbustersPod on Instagram and Twitter. You can go to our
Oh.
website at www.filmbusterspod.co.uk. All the podcasts are on there. We also have some great reviews by us and our in-house critics. So go and check them out because we would love you to, and we will be very happy because, you know, we need some.
Give them some
people
love
looking.
as well.
They're the ones that are keeping the lights on for us at the moment. They're the ones
Yeah.
that are putting out the written fucking reviews. They're covering
Exactly.
current stuff.
Exactly.
Big shout outs.
Big shout out. You can also get to us on our personal accounts. I'm at Filmbusters Paul.
I'm at Filmbusters Tracy.
And I'm at Filmbusters John Kimball. Who's at Filmbusters Tracy? Oh, right, the girl. Good, that was good.
You've forgotten about the film we were reviewing. We got so off topic in this, the end of this one.
I know. Well, that was all a bit silly, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Silly way to end.
Filmbuster.